When I told Lorenzo that Clarice stopped by here, he wasn't too happy. Isidore is still trying to win your mother's heart, and Clarice has got a problem with that. By the time Clarice finds out who I am, I'll have her exactly where I want her. There is no relationship, Alan. I'm certain that Terry doesn't consider your dirty affair a relationship either. And you think Finnegan considers your relationship with him as something he'd commit his life to? Maybe if he wasn't too busy screwing Heidi and sweeping you off your feet, then he would have realized that his son is a lunatic earlier on. When I moved in with you after Mom got arrested, knowing Nichelle is the best surprise I ever got. Then cherish her, Zeke. Do whatever it takes to keep her. Just be brave and take the next step. Don't miss out on a relationship that would bring you happiness. I spoke with Terry and she knows all about the restraining order the Dorvals filed against Keith. What did she have to say about it? To no surprise, she doesn't even seem to care. Hey Max, why'd you stop by? To check up on you, of course. I should be checking up on you since Yvette confessed that you never did anything to her. My name is cleared, so I'll be fine. But if my parents have their way, then I can't say the same for Yvette. Let's worry about that another time. I'm more concerned about you, Vanessa. How are you doing? I feel like I'm supposed to be doing better since my parents filed a restraining order against Keith. Alright, Zeke. If we're only gonna end up going back and forth with one another, then you can walk out that door. I know, Mama. I'm really sorry I ain't visit you all summer. You'll see me soon, I promise. Bye, Mama. Ben, what can I do for you? Enough of the small talk, Vivian. Whatever scheme you've got cooked up ends right now. Don't worry about Terry Finnegan. Just focus on making sure that Keith doesn't end up in prison. Let's concern ourselves with getting him the help he needs. You're right, Harley, but I've been thinking and I believe that you could be more of a help to my son other than being his lawyer. How so? My offer still stands. I would still like for you to move in with me. That's amazing, Vanessa. It would sure keep us from having to see Keith at school. Only if the restraining order goes through. My parents told me that Commissioner Burke is trying to fight it so that Keith could remain a student at the high school. I'm beginning to think that Commissioner Burke might be as crazy as his son. Anyone with any sense would know that Keith shouldn't be anywhere near us after the torture he put us through this summer. After everything Keith has done, I've never been so afraid to go back to school in my life. I'm not gonna let Keith ruin senior year for either of us. I promise to keep you safe from him, Vanessa. I promise I ain't come here to start another argument with you, Nichelle. Does that mean you came here to finally admit that you do have a problem? Yeah, you were right the whole time. I do got a problem. What made you finally admit to it, Zeke? I realized that I was spending more time watching what I'm used to than spending my time with you, the person who I love most in this world. Why didn't you agree with me when I pointed out the problem in the first place? What scheme? Besides, I doubt you like it if someone came to your place and started throwing accusations at you, Ben. You've been lying to my grandmother. Lying to her about what? About who you really are. I didn't steal Vivian Jones's identity. It's my name. You can see it on my birth certificate. Funny how you mention your birth certificate, Vivian, because the names Isaac and Debbie don't appear on it, like you claimed with my grandmother. Hold up. You looked at my birth certificate? Is that even legal? Answer my question first. Imagine my surprise when I saw that your mother's name was Shirley. The same Shirley Jones who was a cook for my family when I was a little boy. It's not a good time to move in with you, Finnegan. Not when I'm gonna be defending Keith in court. Then you can move in after this legal mess is over. Moving in so soon after defending Keith will still complicate things. Harley, if you're worried that Keith will have an issue with you living here, then I can assure you that you have nothing to worry about. Besides, Keith needs structure. He needs to see how it's like to have a healthy relationship with someone. I can't move in, Finnegan. It would only complicate things with my own son. Don't try to concern yourself with protecting me, Max. We both know how unpredictable Keith is. Not that I'm proud to admit it, but I pinned him against a locker, remember? You even saw me push him outside of the mall. I can definitely take him. I don't want you to have to go anywhere near him at all. Maybe he'll be expelled from school after everything he's done. I'm not too sure about that, Vanessa. Not when he did all this stuff outside of school grounds. Actually, I started getting texts from him at the school before the school year ended. Still, if Commissioner Burke wants him there, then he'll do whatever it takes to keep him at the high school. So if Keith isn't kicked out of school, then what use is a piece of paper gonna do? If the restraining order goes through, it would only make Keith angrier. I was scared, Nichelle. Scared of what? Scared that if I admitted to being an addict, then you'd leave me. Didn't I make it clear that I would stand by your side if you agreed to get help? Why couldn't you just trust me, Zeke? It ain't that I couldn't trust you. It's just that I felt like you wouldn't know what you were getting yourself into, staying with someone who's got the sort of problem that I've got. Sounds like you don't know me as well as you think you do. I don't know what to tell you, Ben, but you made a mistake. We both know I didn't. Stop speaking like a criminal by denying the obvious, Vivian. Why couldn't you tell my grandmother the truth when she asked you about it? Alright, fine. I'll stop playing around. But you ain't asking the right questions, sweetie. What are you talking about? Why was your grandma so eager to figure out who my parents were? Why was she so certain that Shirley was my mama when there are hundreds of people with the name Jones? I'll give you that. She wouldn't tell me, but I do find it strange that the family cook's daughter would be working at the family company without telling anyone who she really is. It ain't strange at all, Ben. Why not? 'Cause your granddaddy slept with my mama. Alan needs to grow up and learn to accept that I'm not leaving your life anytime soon. He has no control over who you're involved with. That's right. He has no control over it, but that's something he'll never accept. Especially not now. What's that supposed to mean, Harley? Is it because of what's going on with Keith? Just leave it alone, Finnegan. I've tried to leave it alone when it comes to Alan, but since he's such a brat, it's keeping the two of us from moving forward in our relationship. I'm gonna have a word with him and stop him from interfering in our relationship once and for all. If you confront Alan, then it will cause him to say some things that he'll end up regretting. Like what? You just have to trust me, Finnegan. I trust you with my life. As for your son, I wouldn't even trust him with telling me what time it is on the clock. Most of all, nothing he says can ever hurt my feelings. Just leave it alone. I'm not gonna hurt him, Harley. I respect you too much to ever lay a finger on your son. Besides, it wouldn't be a good look if a police commissioner goes on punching people. But I'm having this conversation with him whether you like it or not. You can't. Why not? What's the worst thing that could happen? He'd tell you. Tell me what? He'd tell you. My son would say that he's sleeping with your ex-wife. Don't give him that power over you. There's no way Keith will ever hurt you or anyone else again. Not when everyone knows what sort of freak he is. Ulissa always knew, but I didn't even listen. Only if I did, he wouldn't have been watching me in my room for months. If I didn't even put two and two together, then he'd be watching me for about a year now. Just thank God that we figured out what he's been up to. Like I told you, I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that he doesn't get anywhere near you ever again. I care about you way too much to let him try and hurt you. You care about me, like a friend, right? Well, like a friend, Max? I'm not gonna lie to you, Vanessa. I do care about you, but not just as a friend. I think I've always cared about you, much more than just a friend. I took you back after all the signs told me to drop you and never look back. And you thought I'd just leave your side once I saw you suffering? I wasn't sure, Nichelle. My parents left me. To be fair, my mom ain't had a choice. Except her actions landed her in prison and she ain't think about me at that moment. I couldn't risk having you leave me. I'm not like your parents, Zeke. I'm gonna stand right beside you and help you fight your battles. I promise. My grandfather did what? And I've got proof. It's not that I don't believe you, Vivian. It's just, Alright. It explains why you didn't tell my grandmother who you really were, but it still doesn't explain why you're working at Russo Jewelers. Let me ask you another question, Ben. Did you ever know why my mama stopped being your cook and left Valley Park? No, I never did. Here's the tea. After your grandma found out your grandpa slept with my mama, it was your grandma who kicked my mama out of your family's estate and made her leave town. Your grandmother ain't as sweet as she makes herself to be. So what? You're in Valley Park working for my family to get revenge when your mother was in the wrong? I know you ain't slut-shaming my mama when your grandfather was old enough to be her daddy. I didn't say that, but my grandparents have been married for years. Obviously, my grandmother was crushed. She was the victim in all this. The victim? Please, it was your grandmother who kept me from what I was entitled to. Entitled to what, Vivian? You solved your Auntie Elvira's case, didn't you? Solve this mystery for me, Ben. Here's some clues. I told you that I had proof that your grandfather slept with my mama. I've got another clue for you. What happens when two people hook up and neither of them have protection? That's kind of tricky when two outcomes can happen. One hint is that your granddaddy had a clean bill of health. As for my mama, she made a few hospital visits throughout several months. No, that can't be right. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Time's up, Ben. Here's the answer you've been waiting for. I'm living proof that your granddaddy cheated on poor old Clarice with my mama. Maybe I should formally introduce myself, Benedict. Hello, nephew. I'm your Auntie Viv.